We're on.
Hey, we're on. Hey, everybody. Welcome today to our 7-minute health chat. And Kim and Robin are here talking about why we should eat organic, especially in midlife, but really this is for anybody. And many foods if we talk about produce, first of all, are sprayed with pesticides and herbicides and things that are not great for our bodies. And so there's a really cool group called the Environmental Working Group. They came out with the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, two lists of things we should buy organic and things that we don't have to buy organic.
Sounds like a Western movie to me.
Yeah. Does it? The Dirty Dozen. So actually,
15.
yeah. And so they're a nonprofit group. And so if you donate $15 to their cause, which I have, they send you this little bag tag, which is kind of cool. So this is the 2021. I marked it out and put 21, and they actually added a couple things. So I'm like, wow. So anyway, but the Clean 15 is on the back, and these stay. I know you can't see that; it's hard to see, but these stayed the same. But it's kind of fun to take it with you shopping, and so you see. Or we always also talked about making your own list and laminating it and taking it with you shopping, so you have it, or just put it on a 3x5 card and have it. So
can you read the list and can you explain why they are the Clean 15 and why they are the Dirty Dozen?
Yes. So these are the most highly pesticided crops. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's a word.
The Dirty Dozen are.
The Dirty Dozen are the ones with the most highly pesticide. They're used and herbicides, and just you need to really super wash them. And actually, you don't always get it. This is what I learned too, because the skin is so thin on many of these vegetables and fruits that you can't. It gets into the skin. You can't wash it off. So that's why it's important. And I'll just read, like, our favorite things we always buy are spinach. I always insist that's organic. Kale. I do my Granny Smith organic apples. Love those. But also on the cherries, peaches, grapes, pears, tomatoes, and celery, and potatoes were off the list this year, but they've added red bell peppers or bell peppers and hot peppers. And also they added collard greens and mustard greens. So I like those greens. I love those greens. So that was new added this year.
And those are on the
Dirty Dozen.
The dirty.
Yeah, you know what?
That you want to buy organic.
Right. And I'll post in the comments. I'll do one post of the Dirty Dozen. I'll do one post of the Clean 15. So yeah, but number one, the Clean 15 is avocados, my favorite.
You have your socks on?
I don't have my socks on this week, but yeah. So if you guys want to see my avocado socks, go look in our last video and you will see I showed my avocado socks. But anyway, do you want me to read the whole list?
Yeah, go ahead. Why not?
Well, sweet corn, pineapple, onion, papaya, eggplant, asparagus, cauliflower, cantaloupe, broccoli, love me broccoli, mushrooms, cabbage, honeydew, melon, and kiwi. Who doesn't love kiwi? Yeah. So,
and that's good to know, because so many people don't buy organic because of the cost.
Right.
And knowing these lists, then you can be selective.
Absolutely. You don't have to buy all organic. Just choose, like, the Dirty Dozen. I would highly, highly recommend you do that. And here's a quick thing we do for spinach. So, because we use spinach every day in our smoothies. So I buy the organic bulk spinach. It's wrapped up. And so you got to bring it home and wash it. And so I bring it home and I buy 3 or 4 of them. So I buy a lot at a time. And so I wash them, rinse them off, put them in the salad spinner, and then bag them up. So I bag them up in the big gallon bags. And then one bag I put in the freezer, freezes beautifully. And the other bag I put in the fridge. So it's easy just to grab it and grab and go, and super easy. So yeah.
Now, if you do it, you put those in your shake that you drink, right?
Yeah.
But if I wonder, would they work in a salad?
Not frozen.
Yeah.
Not frozen.
Okay.
Yeah. They're really hard. They're kind of nice frozen because they keep your shake cold, but they're easy to stuff in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I like that. So what about you, Robin? What's your what do you find with organic food?
So for me, it's the taste. I can remember, you know, my grandma had a strawberry garden and my aunt had a huge vegetable garden. And I just remember like one time saying to Greg when we bought strawberries, like they were big and beautiful. That's a big hint too, when they're like so big.
Yes, on steroids.
Yeah, but I remember like biting into it. I'm like, this doesn't even taste like a strawberry. And I've felt that way with watermelon before too. It's just not the same as my grandma's watermelon patch. And you know, we talked about this yesterday on our clubhouse, organics. And so today I looked a little bit more, I researched a little bit more. And what they said was the reason the taste is different is because they take more time it's organic farming to develop and mature. So it's not that rushed assembly line.
Interesting.
Yeah, farming.
Okay.
It's more time to develop and mature. So that was interesting. Natural.
Yeah. I wonder if the flavor too is changed because of the genetically modified foods. Because
sure. Well, I think that's part of why they're saying naturally.
Yeah.
Because
you know what, like when you said watermelon, you know, you can find a good or bad watermelon, but some of them they try to make them sweeter, but some, you know, with the seedless and stuff. But I think the seeded ones are more, the ones with seeds are more flavorful still. I would think. But anyway, so it's, you know what, I think the beauty of this is that we don't have to buy all organic, but just be aware of the ones that can mess with us, because there's so many toxins in this world. There are so many toxins in our surrounding us that we cannot control, but what we can control is what we put in our mouth, and just being aware. And it just goes for conventional dairy as well, because the hormones and the antibiotics added to conventional dairy is not good for our hormones or good for our gut health. And so being aware and choosing, if you insist on cow's milk, make it organic. And then also go use nut milks. There are other good swaps. Goat's milk is a good one. And then meat as well. We were talking about red meat and how, again, red meat is injected. You know, our cows get injected with antibiotics and hormone. They get an increase in the hormones, which it passes on to us because we're eating what our food eats or what our food's injected with. So it's just it's just being aware, you know. So that's why grass-fed meat is preferable.
Right.
Clean meats, not the factory farm meat.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that came up for me too, when we were talking about this yesterday. You know, I can remember when my kids were younger, and, you know, my husband and I, when we were younger, we were thin. I mean, we ran a lot too, and, you know, probably more so than kids do these days, but my kids did too. They played outside. I made sure of that. But I noticed like that in end of middle school or end of grade school into middle school, their cheeks got really chunky and they were heavier than what I would think they should have been. And it was a different kind of bulk. And to learn later, I'm sure it was because I wasn't buying organic on anything. And, you know, you come and find that out later. And so I want to let people know that now, you know, be careful about what you're putting in your mouth and your children's mouth, because all of that affects, you know, our growth.
Absolutely.
Well.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing that I would touch on is to like the environment. I also mentioned yesterday that, you know, the farming, I mean, there was a lake by me where I used to live, and that lake got shut down because of nearby farming and all the chemicals and pesticides were running into that lake, and it ruined that lake. So with organic, you know, they use everything that is organic to as a resource for fertilization. So, you know, they use a green fertilizer, and they have to go through specific or green manure, and they have to go through specific like tests for their regular animal manure too that they use, and then not using the pesticides. And my aunt had a huge garden. She didn't use pesticides and to kill weeds. She was out there on her hands and knees, and she pulled those weeds,
Right.
and kept the bugs off with. I can remember tin pans, keeping the birds away and whatever, like hanging from things. So yeah, there are better ways. So
yeah. Well, anyway, I hope this is helpful for everybody, because it's just when you know better, you do better. When you don't know what you don't know. And so that's why we're here to spread our knowledge and to be helpful, and hopefully to shed some light and teach you something new today. So
yeah, I would, along with that, I'd highly recommend, if you don't do organic and you are resistant to it, I would research it. There's so many, Google that stuff. Yep. Because there's so many really good resources out there that explain it very well and have been researched.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. About that. Well, thank you. I'm sure we're over our time.
No, we're good. We're pretty close. We're pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, if you have any comments or questions about organic or why, but I'm going to drop the list below in the comments. So I'll do the Dirty Dozen and I'll do the Clean 15. So you'll see them right there. But again, you can go to the Environmental Working Group. Just Google them. It'll come right up. Google Dirty Dozen and it should come right up. And if you want to get your own nifty bag tag, it's got the clean on one side and the dirty on the other side. It's really handy and it's nice to know and just be aware of. So anyway, have a great Wednesday, everyone. And we will see you next week.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye, Rob.